All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Every Star's Rogue Hangout. Sorry for the delay there. We had a few technical difficulties getting going, but here we are. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us again today. Our topic today is the difference between modeling versus copying within business. And I think this is going to be an interesting topic today, as I don't think this is spoken about too much. So, if you do have any comments or questions, you can leave them below the video. We'd be happy to hear from you. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Sheena to get us started with this, and so she can share her thoughts on this interesting topic for today. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to go home now. Just kidding. Well, the reason why I actually suggested this topic is because there's been a lot of things going around. People who I know that have gone through this. You know, sometimes maybe, let's say you wanted to become a singer, right? And you know, you're this famous singer, and then you have this pool of people who want to sing like you, right? You teach them how to sing, you teach them the right notes, and you know they want to venture out being their own singer, and that's fine. You wish them well, you give them the resources, you give them the connections, and they go and do their own thing. What happens when that person who you mentored becomes, you know, they start copying the exact same style that you do, or you know, they start backstabbing you, they start gossiping about you, they do everything they can to destroy you. What do you do then, right? And you know, this happens a lot, right? People copy exact businesses, exact, styles, and they take it like it's their own when it's not, right? And you don't want another copycat, right? You're here because you want to learn how to market, right? You want to learn how to market the right way. And there's nothing wrong with following a mentor, right? You can follow some of their tips and strategies, but I mean, you don't have to copy it to a T, right? Because when you copy somebody, it just doesn't feel genuine. People can feel that, you know, you're not a real person, and especially if they know what kind of style you have, like, or what kind of style you're using, you know, they can sense that, right? And you want to be your own person. You want to learn how to be your own person. There's nothing wrong with modeling off of people, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I model off of so many people, but I try to put a spin to my own way of, you know, how to explain it or how to market it, or you know, you just have to learn to study people. And you know, I think sometimes copying can lead to like such I think it could just lead to bad things, right? Like I said, you know, copying, backstabbing the person who taught you, right? You know, gossiping about them, trying to bring them down so you can bring yourself up, which is not the way to do that. And we've seen this a lot, not only in like the marketing industry or the network marketing industry, but everywhere around us. It happens all the time. And you know, people do that because they run on this scarcity mindset. They don't think that there's enough people who will listen to them, which is wrong, right? You have to learn that, you know, there's more than enough people for everybody, and you don't need to market to everybody, right? You can only, you just need to market to a small few, you know, a small group. You know, it was interesting because this morning I was watching a webinar that was done by a very well-known marketer. His name is Frank Kern, and you know, he was talking about, you know, consulting and what to do and how to do it. And what was amazing about it was that there was only 1,000 people, right? And that's not a lot for him because, I mean, he's a well-known marketer. I'm sure he has millions of people on his list. But the fact that he only had 1,000 people, you know, in that webinar was crazy. That's it. He wouldn't let anybody else in. All those 1,000 people were there, right? They stayed till the end to see what he was going to sell, because they already know that he was going to provide something, right, that to help them excel in their business. And you know, it was a coaching course. I think it was about, you know, $3,500. But imagine what you can do. Imagine if everyone in that webinar started actually bought the course. So 1,000 people and $3,500 a pop. That's like $3.5 million all in that one webinar. You know, I mean, it's amazing how much money you can make with a small group of people. And you have to learn, you know, sometimes that you don't need a big group. You just need a small group. 1,000 people is not a lot, right? I mean, it may look like a big number, but it's not. And you know, this all, I probably kind of went off a bit, but I'm just trying to let you know that you don't have to market to everybody. You don't have to run on the scarcity mindset. If you learn how to market the right way, have people buy products from you, you know, a small group buying big ticket items, you know, that's That's learning to work smart versus working hard. And you know, we um we have tools and resources that can help you do that, right? We can provide them to you. We can, refer them to you. But, it all has to start with your mindset, right? You have to learn that there's more than enough for everybody. There's an opportunity for everybody, right? And I also believe, in karma, right? What you put in, what you give out to the world, you get it back in return. So if you're the type of person watching this thinking, you're going to copy somebody to the T, start backstabbing and stuff, bring them down, start giving them a bad name, guess what? All that stuff that you're going to do is going to come back right to you, right? It's going to kick you in the ass and you won't even know it, right? And what's worse, sometimes it might not happen to you, but it could happen to someone close to you. So, this is why I think we should learn how to market properly, right? Market the right way. I mean, yes, there are certain things that you can copy, maybe a certain piece of email that you found on somebody's list, that's okay. I'm not saying to copy every single email. If it's something that you feel like something that you've written or something that makes sense that could, connect to a person, then yeah, that's great, right? Sometimes, we do that, right? Nothing wrong with that. But if you copy their style to a T, it just doesn't make you the person you're supposed to be, right? We're all about finding your own self, being you, finding the originality in you, and learning different strategies to use that. So I don't know if there's anybody else who would like to comment on this topic. I mean, I only brought this topic up it's just because I saw, a person, nothing to do in this business outside of our industry, but this person was, started their own business, decided to backstab some people, started to badmouth some people, and it just wasn't right. The person copied every single thing that that the person was advising them to do. Right, it was helping them, mentoring them, and then to have that outcome was just such a sad event. Right, I mean that's not how you do business, right? And there are people out there who will steal or cheat or do things the wrong way, and like I said, it's just wrong, right? It's not right. You will get that back in return because, like I said, I believe in karma. I believe in giving out good karma and giving out bad karma. So you have to realize that actions that you take, the actions that you do, can affect either you or someone close to you. So you better be careful what you're doing, right? If you're backstabbing someone, if you're lying, cheating, all those things, that can come back to you. So, yeah, so if there's anybody else out there who'd want to, panel, like, what do you think about modeling versus copying a person or a business or something, right? I mean, I'm sure you've all heard this, like, I'm the next so-and-so, or we're the next so-and-so, but really, why would you want to be like that? Why can't you just be, hey, I'm me. This is me. This is what I have to offer. I'm here to help you. Something as simple as that. And it looks like Alesha and John might have a little something.
Yeah, I think it was great because I've actually been a student of Frank before, and that you were talking about, and this question was actually something that I had actually asked about as well. And what we found was that, like you said, you have to find your own style, you have to find your own voice, and there's going to be things in the marketplace that, yes, they do work, and they work very well. And excuse me. Now, what I found out about too was just that it's okay to go ahead and use like certain email swipe files. Now, when you use an email swipe file as well too, a lot of times you'll get like a generic email, and it actually works really well to a certain audience. But even then, your audience is probably getting that same email from probably about 3 to 4 other different people that they're on their list as well. Because within our space, normally if they're on my list, they're probably on your list, her list, his list. Like, it's all over the place where, most of these people are at. And sometimes those people are getting the same message over and over and over again. Well, that's clearly they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, I guess, there's this big market push for this going on. And they know that it's not you even writing it. They know that it's just you just copying it and just sending it out there. So they lose interest. And what I found was that by actually taking the time out and actually putting a little bit of personalization into it, your readers and the people that you communicate with and your followers that you have, they know you. I mean, they know you better than probably you know you some days. And if you're communicating to your list effectively and to your market effectively, you know, they're going to be missing you. And if you turn around and you actually give them an inconsistent message, they're going to see right through that bull crap, and they're just going to chew you up because, number one, they won't buy something from you. Number two, you're going to discredit yourself. And number three, you're just going to look like a buffoon. You really will. You're just going to, you know, I know Frank Kern has rule number one, thou shalt not fuck around. Like, that's his rule number one for business. Don't fuck around. It is. Like, that's what he says. And I'm going to say that in quotes, I guess. But, you know, this lifestyle might have a lot of freedom with it. But at the end of the day, you know, we're not screwing around with it. It's our livelihood's on the line. This is not just a hobby, you know, so you have to treat it as a profession that it actually is, and you have to give it some of the respect that it deserves. Because like Sheena said, you'll get chewed up and spit out on the other end, you know, you'll get found out. It's that simple. You know, people will know that it's not you. You know, if you normally have just this, like, a loving, jovial style, and you're joking around and kidding around, and all of a sudden you come out with, like, this big, serious, just straight pitch fest of an email that you send your list to, they're going to know. They're going to know right off the bat that you probably just copied this from somewhere, and it's not going to be genuine. Now, part of the reason why I loved going online originally, like why I thought it was great, was because what originally attracted me to it was that your past doesn't matter. No matter where you come from, your past doesn't matter. It's all about what you do going forward that matters, and the decisions that you make going forward. So, and what I mean by that too is, like, let's say that, okay, a lot of times you'll hear people say that, oh, that person's only successful because they had a head start on something, or it was because they, you know, they got a little bit more information, or they got in at the beginning, or anything like that. And then sometimes you can turn around, and if that's true, like, you'll also always see other people that like, where do the success stories come from? Like, where does the I came up from the ghetto stories come from? Where's the stories that I come from being homeless at then? If that's the case, those stories wouldn't exist then. Like, those wouldn't be there. It would all just be only people with the silver spoon in their mouth and the money to begin with already started that would be well off. And that would be what would be true, but it's not. That's totally not the case. So what that means is that you can take environment out of the equation because it's not the environment. You can take let's say weight loss. You can take genetics out of the question too, because it's just about, you know, you put garbage food in your mouth and you want to sit on the couch and do nothing all day long and play video games or watch your favorite TV shows on, you know, if you want to watch a Game of Thrones marathon for 2 weeks straight, well, guess what? Your body's going to just turn into mush around you, you know? And it's not genetics or anything else. It's about the choices you make. And that's the same thing with business. It's the same choices you make on how you communicate with your list, how you communicate to your marketplace, and the value you provide. Now, it's no secret that the only difference between, you know, rich people and poverty is that they have more information than the other group, and they're applying that information and they're providing value to a bigger group of people. That's all that it is. And you hear it all the time. Well, okay, and then you're going, okay, well, that's fine, but how the hell do I just provide more value? What am I going to talk about? Well, you talk about things in your own way. You can get information from all the greats. I mean, that is how Frank Kern got all of his start. Was he learned from Dan Kennedy, and then Dan Kennedy learned it from somebody else, and it's recycled material, but in their own way. You know, life is in evolution as we know it. It's just a history of Chinese whispers going along with where we've told stories over and over and over again to where we've now, certain things are accepted as true. And marketing is no different, because you can still have the wrong message that's out there, and you can do really, really, really negative stuff with it, or you can choose to do really, really good stuff with it. Imagine this. Imagine if, like, for older people that are out there, imagine if the Beatles came out and they chose to sing about war and famine and destruction and hatred. Imagine what our world would be like to a whole generation of people if that's what the Beatles chose to just talk about. But they didn't. You know, all you need is love. They talked about great things. You know, they talked about things that brought up a whole generation of people around them. But they could have sang about whatever they wanted. And that was a decision that they knew that they could have actually shaped a whole generation of people, and they kind of knew that going into it. Well, that's the same thing that we do as well, is that we actually have, that's how strong marketing is when you do it correctly. You know, is you can actually influence a whole group of people to either do great things or negative things. And hopefully the value that you are providing out there is not some rehashed garbage, but it's your spin on something that's great, and you can make it even better. Now, you can look at some of the greats, and for some reason, damn it, Apple always pops into this. But Apple, they're taking it. They're the kings of just taking simple things or simple concepts and applying them to mass amounts of people. We all know that the new Apple Watch is coming out. It's a freaking watch. But people go, oh, but dude, it's not just no watch. But they could make that thing $1,000. People would still stand in line for days and pay homeless people to stand in line for them. You know, they're going to pitch tents. They're going to do whatever they can to be the first one in line with a watch on their wrist that acts like they're a part of something. Now that's powerful. It's just a watch. Effectively, does it do the same thing that another watch does? It tells time. Sure does. But now you can get glances at all the information that's on your phone in your pocket without having to pull the phone out of your pocket. And you're going, oh, but no, it does health stuff for me, and it tracks my health. Mm-hmm. All it's going to tell you is that you're not moving your ass, because that's what probably it's going to be a wake-up call to a lot of people going, you're not moving, you're not doing nothing. But what's great is it's amazing to me. That's how powerful marketing is. And what's great, too, is you can go to Apple's website right now. Oh, don't do it right now, like later on. Like, don't leave here. But you could go to their website. You could watch the Apple Watch video, and you will be like sucked into this thing because it has like their VP of product design talking in that awesome English accent or whatever it is. So of course it's like the Geico man is like speaking to you in some sexy voice, and you're like, what? It's a watch. And you're just like, I gotta have this thing. You're like, just take my money. I will pre-sell right now, because even though it's still something that we think is new, it's innovative, but it's still just a watch. At the end of the day, it goes on your wrist and you wear it. You know, it's still effectively the same thing, but now we have this perceived value about it. But they didn't copy anybody. They just took a standard same thing and they've made it better. You know, that's really all that they've done, and they've consistently done that time and time and time again. They'll take the simple laptop. I mean, I saw this thing today. I was watching it this morning. They took, like, we have an Apple MacBook Pro, 15-inch Apple MacBook Pro. That's what we're talking to you guys on right now. And we have one of their 27-inch iMacs. You know, things like $3,000 for that thing. It's no joke. Like, both of these things are expensive. They come out with a 2-pound laptop. The thing's 2 pounds. It's like 13 millimeters thick. That's thinner. That's a coaster on my coffee table. That's like thinner than that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's amazing. It's almost like my iPad is like thicker than that thing is. It's just amazing but they're just innovating and rehashing it. Now they could have came out and said, you know, this thing's as light as could be, and it's gonna be a bunch of stuff that it's not, and they could have lied their face off, you know, but they didn't. They actually put innovative and value in there. Why is it valuable to people? People are going to spend $1,500 for that thing because it's 2 pounds. You know, all you got to do is go in any inner city and see people on bicycles that are riding their bicycles to and from work. They don't want to have a heavy laptop with them, but they want the power, so they're going to buy that. You know, just because it gets the job done. Well, the same thing with your marketing and your value. If you're truly providing value to the marketplace, you're not going to ask yourself, well, what kind of value do I have? You know, and that means that you just need to go and learn more. You need to surround yourself with more and more people that know more about things than you do, and then you can model what they're doing. You can model some of that success. It doesn't mean that you take their ideas and you just do exactly 100% what they're doing. I saw this on Teespring, the T-shirt campaigns on Facebook right now. Everybody, it seemed like tons of people were doing the Teespring campaigns and running, you know, T-shirts. And you would see people that would see an idea for one, and then they'd literally just copy that thing and start their own campaign on it, and it's like, and then they're getting busted for it, because it's still intellectual property. And these people are now all the profits that you could have made now because of, I'll get technical here, the Digital Rights Millennium Copyright Act. I think that's what it is, something like that, whatever that is. But if you basically plagiarize someone's stuff and you go out there, they're going to send you a cease and desist notice electronically or by mail, either way. And if you don't comply with that, now they have full rights to just sue you, and they're going to gain it all back, plus some. So any of your hard work that you wanted to get, don't think that this is just the cowboy Wild West here on the internet land. Like, this is just some new frontier. There actually is stuff that we have codes of ethics that we kind of abide by. Mm-hmm. But we will bend a lot of boundaries, though. Don't get me wrong. We will push the envelope sometimes, and that's what true entrepreneurs will do. But as far as just straight ripping someone off, think about it. How would you feel? How would you feel if all what you're working for is to put your kids through college, or to buy a new home, or to go travel the world with your friends, whatever it is? How would you feel if all of a sudden you see now someone that basically took the same stuff that you had, copied your website almost identical, but just put their name and their face in it? Mm-hmm. How would you feel? It would make me sick. You'd be so pissed off, especially if they were making more money than you were. Then you're really going to be cheesed. You're just going to be like, oh man, I will drive to someone's house.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of a couple of times where I've had people come to my blog post or come to my content, and or send me a message, and they've loved what the value that I've given, which is great. And they've actually written to me and said, I'd really like to copy this, is that okay? Or I'm going to copy this, thanks. I've actually had that happen to me, and at first I thought, oh wow, and then I thought, well, maybe they didn't mean to say copy, maybe they meant to say model. So I'd write back to the people and thank them, for letting me know that they really loved my content. And, I would say, make sure that it's okay, but make sure that you're actually modeling my work and you put your own personal, twist to it. Don't blatantly copy it, because then it won't actually be personal to you, and you've just taken, my personal piece of content that I've made my own. So, and most of the time people understand that, and it's often just the way that it's worded. And people usually write back and say, oh yes, of course, I wouldn't actually copy it, I was going to model it. So, anybody out there who wants to do that and they're going to send somebody a message, make sure you say modeling, not copying, because that person is going to think that you're literally going to copy and paste their work. That's what they're going to think. And if you say that to the wrong person, you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble. So that was it just reminded me of a few of my own personal experiences I've had with that. So.
Too, it's like when you write a blog post as well too, what you can also do is you can cite where you found some of your work. It's called, in our language, we call that backlinking. You can give someone the credit for the work that they did, and you can actually quote their work, and you can put a link that links back to their site. So now you can actually link back over and give them a backlink. Well, now that's reciprocal. You're reciprocating that relationship. You said, hey, this is where I found it at. This was great content. This stuff rocks. This stuff kicks major booty. Go check this out. And then you can, blam, here's the link. Go get it. That's cool. That's totally fine. And if you're going to use someone's images and stuff too, get their permission. You can always send, a website. Normally, there's a contact form somewhere. Especially images. I know that when you're everybody will just go to Google and just say, oh, I'm just going to put this image on my site and everything else. Well, those images, when they're first created, they have meta tags on those images, and those images say where they actually came from originally. There's actually information behind those images. There's some websites out there that will actually crawl the internet for all those images used without permission outside of their website, and that's huge right now. A lot of graphic design people are like that. They'll watermark their stuff, and there's tools out there that will take the watermarks off. Just pay somebody to make it for you. I mean, you can get stuff done for $5 online. You need a cool graphic done or something, it might be $10 if it's a little bit longer. But you can get really good quality stuff made nowadays for $5 to $10. And if that's too much for you, I really hate to say it, but then you just need to be entering just text only. If that's because you want to protect yourself out there. You don't want to be the reason why we say it too is because, at least for me, I take this serious. And, this is not supposed to be a big lecture hangout, but, it is. This is serious. Like, it really is. This is our livelihood on the line.
Yeah.
And also what it does is, if you're out there just spamming links everywhere and just posting stuff on, all over the place on Facebook with no real value, now you're a spam artist. Now, and for us, that's just horrible, because now you just made our marketplace even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because now what we're trying to do that's good, you just came in and just killed 95% of that progress. And it's almost like we're in a movement right now of, like, it's like people are anti. If you're an entrepreneur online at all, a lot of people are almost anti that. So it's almost like, first we had race wars, and then there was the whole Rodney King thing later on. Now we're going through where the internet came out. Now we have to deal now with spamming an email list. Now we have to deal with spamming on social networks, and now we have to actually deal with people copying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it'll ever end, but a lot of it just starts with education. We have to go, well, why did someone do that? Like, why would someone make that decision?
Yeah.
A lot of it's just because they, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that if you're over the age of 6 years old, you kind of know the difference between right and wrong. It's just kind of how I was raised. I don't know, maybe over the age of 10, so you should know how to use a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think a lot of people are just lazy as well.
Yeah, it's lazy. It's a choice that people made. That's it. It's, no BS.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy.
And I mean, there are. I mean, if you do a Google search for an image, you can actually click on the advanced search, and you can choose the option that says free to share and use. And then if you usually don't get very good images when you do that, because most of them will disappear, because there aren't a lot that actually let you, share them and use them. But you can do that, which is a really cool little tip. And there's a heap of free image photo sites that you can go to, like Pixabay. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them where you don't have to give an attribution to the person who created the image. That's a website I go to a lot, Pixabay. There are a bunch of those out there where you can freely use the images, and then there's others where you can pay. Like you mentioned, Fiverr and a few other places like that. I think this is a really good point to bring up.
Shutterstock is another one. There's Shutterstock. Shutterstock has some really cool images and stuff that you can use as well too.
Yeah, it's a really important point here, because I see a lot of bloggers doing this. They like what you said, they don't know what they don't know. They're pulling images, they're pulling infographics from everywhere, and they're not linking back to the person in their post. They're not giving that person credit. And people just don't know what they don't know, and they take images and they just think that because they're on the internet, everything's free to share and use. So,
The good news, though, is there's a way that we can actually teach people the right way.
That's right.
Which is by clicking the link down below here and actually learning the right way to get started. If you wanted to do that, there's an actually yes, let's do this button. It's a big, nice green button. It's just pulsating at you. Just click that yes, let's do this button, and we can do this.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean, this is how we learned all of what we're sharing with you every week.
Oh, I was an idiot at first. I was an idiot on fire.
Information.
Like, you want to talk about idiot on fire? That was me. Like, just total. I was a jackass at first. I really was. But but what I did though, in my stuff originally when I first looked at it, like what did I use? I never really copied anybody's stuff, but I would go into, what was the Microsoft tool that comes with Microsoft? Not PowerPoint. Crap. It's not. Maybe it wasn't PowerPoint. Yeah, It was PowerPoint. I would go into PowerPoint, and I would actually take and upload the images, like whatever basic image that I wanted at first, and I would find a free image, and let's say I wanted to put text over top of it. I would use their text editor inside there, but I could do like really cool 3D stuff with it. So I would just mess around with like the shadows and the text and make it really cool. And then I started off by making Craigslist ads for free, and I was getting like every ad I placed at first, not every, but I mean a majority of them, I was getting like 30 leads a day off of each ad I made, and I was running a bunch of them. There was a couple days where I had over a couple hundred leads a day come in at first, and that's how I got my first sale, was actually from Craigslist. and I'll never forget it. So I still remember how how powerful that was. I remember that feeling of accomplishment was stronger than whenever I first made when we made over $1,000 in a day. That first $25 sale was just magical to me. I was like, whoa, this is proof that it's real, And it was cool because I basically created something from nothing. I had an idea and about why I was attracted to something, and I really created something from nothing. Now, granted, that was my results. I can't guarantee anybody's results at all, and you can see our income disclosure below the bottom of this page as well. And you can go to mavericklifestyles.com / or no, I'm sorry. I do this every time. income.mavericklifestyles.com. So you can go there as well, and you can check it out. But either way, it's at the bottom of the page. You can click that below. But really, a lot of it's just be yourself out there, I started off thinking that, okay, well, who should I be like? Like, I gotta be like somebody. And then I realized, you know what? Screw that, because that's a lot of work being someone you're not. Like, that shit gets hard. I'm not a professional actor, and I can't do that. Like, I can't do that. That's why they get paid millions of dollars to go on a movie and screen and be someone they're not, because that stuff is not easy. So, don't be someone you're not, but you can learn a lot. What happened? And here's what's great too. You want to watch this in like, you want to see this every day. If you have kids, this is the cool part. If they have friends that come over or anything, watch how they change when they're around their friends. Like, in a matter of minutes, all of a sudden, just boop. All of a sudden, you're like, what the hell? That's not how they normally are, and they will change in an instant. Which is crazy. So and you can, even dogs, animals will do this too. You can get a group of dogs together. The one dog that's never like that, all of a sudden it just turns, into like, not just a butt sniffing machine, but, it gets crazy with the other dogs. Yes, Sheena, I said butt sniffing.
Yeah. And on the butt sniffing note, I guess, I think...
will not be doing that here. No.
The pattern interrupt there. We kind of touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to talk about this a little bit more. Often they'll see something from a leader, from a mentor, and they believe that person created that. Just instantly we think that person was the first person on this earth to ever come up with that strategy or that video or that content, whatever it was. And usually, most often than not, they weren't the person that actually created that particular thing. You could probably look into it a little bit more and discover that person learned from somebody else. We touched on that as well, and that person learned from somebody else. Yeah. It's like most ideas in life. Usually they've already been created, and we just put our own personal spin on things and put our own little twist to things to make them our own, so it's personalized. We reinvent a lot of things in life. Myself being a huge Madonna fan, queen of reinvention. This woman has reinvented herself for the last 30 years. And it's all through different ideas and creativity. That's all it is, to inspire people. It's reinventing images and music. So many people do this. And it's all things that have been done before, but we just recreate them to make them our own. So I think that's a really important point to touch on as well, to know that, with mentors, just on that, make sure that you do actually have a mentor as well. The person that you are modeling, make sure that, usually I would suggest only having between 2 to 3 of them. You don't want to have any more than that, because you'll start to get conflicting information, because there's so much out there online. And different leaders and different mentors have different ways of doing things. And I discovered this the hard way. Myself being a multitasker, it didn't really serve me that well when I got online, because I was looking at everybody's different strategies and methods, and things were starting to conflict, and I became really confused. So what you want to do when you get started, clicking the link below the video, when you come inside our community, your sponsor may not be the person that you model. It may not be the person that's mentored by you. It might be somebody else. You might resonate more with a particular person that you discover over time. And when you resonate with that person, you can model everything that they're doing. We're not going to copy them, we're going to model them. But make sure you don't have too many, okay, because you're just going to get completely overwhelmed. I think that's a really big point to bring up today as well, just on that.
I picked 3. I mean, when I got in, at first I did the same thing. I was really overwhelmed, and I picked 3 that I really resonated with. I kind of looked and I saw what was going on, like who the movers and shakers were, and I really just got, what made me, actually for me, it was what the hell could I stay awake through to watch someone teach something. And I was like, whoever I could basically watch and understand and be like captivated with, I was like, okay, I like that. And the other one was, like, I'm kind of like a no bullshit type of person. I like very direct. So there was one other person who actually had a no BS line of products, and I was like, yep, right up my alley. Gonna pay attention to that guy. Just so happens that he actually, was an industry leader and made, gosh, he's probably helped people make billions of dollars, right now.
Yeah, you want to model the person that has the results that you want.
Exactly.
You know?
And also, exactly, that's it. The person that I would be willing to trade places with, that is important as well too. But really, I like me. I like being me. So.
Yeah, being yourself is often the hardest thing that people can realize that they need to be.
It's why people don't want to go on to videos at first when they think that they suck at videos. I mean, I'll be the first one to say it. I'm still to this day, for some reason I can get over the Hangouts now, but to me to record a video, to actually sit there and just flick the camera on and record a video, I'm just like a deer in the headlights. I really am sometimes. And, but the only way to get better at it is just to keep doing it. And yeah, I can learn different techniques from different people, but the words that are coming out of my mouth, can you not hear the words? Anyway, either way. But I still want to be myself that whole time. You're going to learn different techniques as you go along, but I can promise you one thing. If you are looking to actually change, you're looking to get rid of the bullcrap that was in your life before, you're looking to, just make a positive change that no one can ever take away from you for anything. The journey that you go on when you actually join with us, and anybody here, whether it's Chris, Sheena, Stephanie, wherever she ended up dipping out to, I'm sure she'll be back. But if Stephanie invited you here as well, I'm sure that she'll be back too. But you can't go wrong as well with anybody that's here, because the journey that everybody's on, they're not the same people when they first started. They're not. When they first got online and they first joined this community, and they started taking massive action with their personal development and their own growth. You're not the same person you were. You really aren't. And I can promise you that you won't be. And there's another thing I promise you is that no one can take away any of the stuff that you learn. They never can. For me, when I first got started online, I almost had like this weird secret, I guess, thing that was just plaguing me, nagging at me, and it was that I almost felt like I was going to be found out in a weird way. And then I realized that that's actually what plagues a lot of people that are like, Donald Trump. Let's see, who else talked about this one too? Well, I think actually Frank Kern talked about this before too, is, when he first got started online, he almost felt like he was going to just be found out about stuff. And it wasn't like you were doing anything different or wrong, it was like that you were changing. That like almost like you need to give a shit about what your friend said to you. And what's funny to me is this was the same idiot friends of mine sometimes that were the same ones that were getting drunk, waking up in bathtubs when they were like in college and stuff. So it's like, Chris, I know your kid's in college too. I don't think he's going to be waking up in a bathtub though. I'm just saying, like, some of the crazy crap that we did, these are the same people that I was out there just, terrorizing with. No, I don't mean like in like a terrorist way. I mean like, when we were kids, we did some real dumb stuff. So those are the same people that you grew up with, but those are the same people that are continue to make those same crappy decisions. They're the same people that are going to not pick up a book and search for an answer. Those are the same people that are going to continue to drive to and from work every day, faking that they actually like what they do. And what's great about this is I actually get to say, you know what, I love what I do. I love the people that I'm around. I love inspiring people as well, and I love knowing that the group of people that I get to work with, are on their way to better things continuously. You know, I love that. To me, I get a lot out of it. And no one can take that away from me. Doesn't matter. You know? But originally, I had this secret thing that in my mind that, like, I was going to be found out. And that drives a lot of, that's actually a trait, too, of a lot of, like, you know, the millionaire next door type of mindsets. You know, the people that you would never think, you know, are loaded. Driving the Ford F-150, running a lawn care company, you know, those, or a general contractor, that's the same stuff there. That's one of their driving factors too, is they just don't want everything to just go away. You know, it doesn't matter how much they save. They could have a couple $100,000 sitting in the bank. To them, that's not enough. You know, they could think that, you know, well, you know, that's a couple $100,000 really isn't that much sitting in the bank when you think about living your life and actually what happens when you're older. You know, and my scariness, or my scary part to me, was to realize that I didn't want to be 35 years old with less than $35,000 in the bank. To me, that was scary as hell. Going, wait a minute, like there's something wrong here. You know, I was going, there's a big disconnect. You know, and anymore now too with the cost of like what most people want when they talk about freedom. What do most people want? They just want to make sure their bills are paid, they have food, they have shelter, you know, they can pay everything. And that's really what it is. They can spend their time with everybody else. You know, they can spend their time with their kids, they can, or grandkids, they can, you know, they can go travel, you know. It doesn't take that much to travel the world, you know. A lot of people, you know, when they first start their entrepreneurial journey, they'll read the 4-Hour Work Week. Now, I am nowhere near the 4-Hour Work Week yet. I probably never will be, and that's just because that's not me. Like 4 hours a week. I mean, I probably spend more time in the bathroom than that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like I don't know if I could actually. Like to me, it's just that would be so much control that I would feel like I would be giving up somewhere else that I wouldn't even know what to do with 4 hours.
I would be kind of bored. Because I like to be creative and work.
Well, that's why Tim went to do
know,
like ballroom dancing and learn like fighting and all that stuff and learning languages, and it's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but you got to decide what's for you. You know, if you're a workhorse, you're going to be a workhorse. You know, if you were called to be a ballerina, you're going to be a ballerina. It is what it is. You know, a duck is a duck. You can't make the duck turn into a goose. Well, wait, not a goose. A duck, it's part of a goose type thing. You're not going to turn the duck into a cow. You know, you're going to be you. Everything's still going to be the same. You know, and you don't see animals try to be something else. You ever see like a monkey try to be like anything else? You don't see it. Like we're the only people, like the only species on Earth that tries to be something different. You know, there's butterflies and caterpillars that turn into butterflies, but that's the whole metamorphosis thing. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about we're like the only weird-ass species on the planet that will try to be stuff that we're not. So just be you. Don't try to fight it. Just be you. If you swear all the time, swear all the time. If that's what you do, do it. I'm sure that there's, I mean, hell, who's the dude that just did the interview with Madonna? What was?
Jonathan Ross.
No, the other guy. Howard Stern. Yeah. Howard Stern. So you got Howard Stern. The guy was just a shock DJ at first, and then look how much money he went on to make. You know, and the dude is on Sirius Satellite Radio. He's got his own station. I mean, you can't tell me that there's not an audience for somebody out there. There is. Trust me. It really is easy to actually get a following. It's a lot more easier than you think. Mm-hmm. It really is. Yeah, just don't think that your story doesn't matter. You know, don't think that where you came from doesn't matter. You know, don't think that, you know, your big come up isn't important, because it is. But are you going to change afterwards? Absolutely. But you're going to be respectful of where you came from. I guarantee you that. You know, if not, you're probably going to keep living it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I gotta get a drink.
All right, let's throw this over to Chris so he can share his thoughts on this interesting topic for today.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you once again for having me on this week. You guys are awesome leaders, and you seem to always come up with interesting topics for us to talk about, challenge us a little bit. Also, Alesha, your post, I think today or maybe yesterday, on Dan Kennedy, that was awesome. I actually bought a bunch of his books after that, so thank you for sharing that. So
Yep.
modeling versus yeah.
Yep, right there.
I don't know if that's one of the ones, but
Sure.
I ordered 3 of them. I can't remember them.
Yeah, let's show everybody. This is one of them. This is the No BS series
Yeah,
from
that's
Dan Kennedy. This is
Marketing to the affluent.
marketing to the affluent. So there's an entire book series. I think there's about 8 of them.
Yeah,
The
the No BS time management's the next one that I actually want to go through because I suck at managing my time. I really do.
Yeah, Dan. For anyone who doesn't know who Dan Kennedy is, he is. I would like to say he's kind of like the godfather of marketing. I mean, I don't know how to describe him.
The Maverick.
The Maverick of marketing, and he's the guy that so many of the the leaders in this industry, the Frank Kerns and all these people we've been talking about tonight, have modeled from him. Every word that comes out of his mouth is just priceless value. So yeah, that's why I wanted to share that audio of his with everybody yesterday, because it was just unbelievable value. So yeah, I'm glad that you got to listen to that. So
I like Dan's stuff from like 10 years ago. He was talking about he openly admits that his copywriting and stuff from like 10 years ago was better than it is now. Because he even says, I kind of got fed up with it a little bit because if you listen to Dan at all, you'll know that he's kind of a gruff, it is what it is. He's right there, honest, kind of in your face about it, like just no BS. That's what he is.
Yep.
And he even says, look, my copywriting stuff now is not as it was 10 years ago. He says 10 years ago I was in it. He says I was just on point with it. He goes, that's when I was really crafting it 100%. That's when I was on it. But it's great you brought him up though.
Well, thank you. So I think everybody kind of hit on a lot of good points, but what I wanted to kind of say was, and I think when people first get in and they're new, they do a lot of copying of stuff. They'll see an email or a Facebook post. My mic, yeah, my mic's working, right? You guys can hear me? Okay. Or an email post or a Facebook post or something, you end up copying it. So you do definitely want to model, and you want to find some mentors that you can model. You can model some of their techniques, or even look at how frequently they send things out, and maybe copy their timing or model their timing. But you don't want to copy exactly. You can take bits and pieces, but you want to be yourself. You want to be an original. You want to stand out from the crowd, and the way you're going to do that is being you. So you put your own spin on things. You can certainly, just about everything that's out there today is the idea came from something somebody saw, or they saw something, they want to improve on it, they want to make it better, but it started with something else. So most ideas aren't exactly original. It's people putting their twist on something that's already out there. So I just want to put that out there. So definitely, I think JP mentioned, get some mentors, have 2 or 3 different mentors, and model some of the stuff they do. Just don't copy it exactly. I don't know. Do we get time for the story? You guys want to hear this, or? Okay. So I had something interesting happen today, which kind of goes along the line with what we're talking about. So we're all members. We all blog, and actually that's how I met everybody here, is through blogging. So we belong to some blog syndication groups, and one of the groups I belong to is run by one of our leaders. Her name is Laura Parrish. And as part of her group, you go in, you comment on people's blogs, you read them, you comment on them, then you share them. So you share them on social media, and you can choose how you want to share it. You can share it on Facebook, Twitter. So I happened, and unbeknownst to me, and I had no idea that this had even happened, one of the posts I ended up commenting and sharing on was actually one of Laura Parrish's posts. And this actually goes back, I think it was last month. One of her posts, she wrote about how she's been sober now for nearly 4 years, and she kind of told her story about that. So I shared it on Twitter. And unbeknownst to me, if you Google the title of her post, I think she comes in like the top 5, but my Twitter feed actually comes up like 6 or 7. It's on the first page of Google. Totally unbeknownst to me that this had happened. But what really made it cool was, we had a affiliate webcast last Thursday night, and she posted in the comments. She goes, "Hey," she just wanted to let me know. She shouted out to me and one of the other members. "Hey, I just did an an all-in video talking about blogging techniques, and I shouted out to you. I mentioned your name because one of your shares is ranking on the first page of Google." I'm what? I had no idea. I went and checked it out, and lo and behold, it's just because I shared. So a lot of people are hesitant about sharing other people's content. So it's actually good for a number of reasons. One, you're creating a backlink back to your own post, and then something like this could happen where your sharing could actually end up on the first page of Google, which is our goal. We want to rank on Google so people can find our stuff. But somebody may actually, if they did a search on a particular topic, and let's say, in this case, Laura's stuff all came up, they may say, well, I'm going to skip over Laura's stuff because obviously she's not going to say anything bad about herself, but there's this third-party opinion out there. I'm going to go check that out, and it could end up coming back to you somehow. So, I believe in, like you said, karma. What comes around goes around. But I'm getting a ton of publicity just from that one share. Laura's been sharing it. She shared it with a group, and she shared it in the one of the videos now that's posted in her back office. And all in. If you're not all in, there's a button down below here. I think you need to hear that video from Laura. She rambles on for not rambles, but she shares her techniques for a good hour, I think. Really, some really golden nuggets. I actually I learned a tremendous amount. I used some of her techniques on my post I think I did this morning, and it actually ranked 1 on Google just because I used some of those techniques. And she does have some really good stuff there. And if you're not all in, besides her stuff, there's tons and tons of information in there that just in that back office alone, there's $1 million information in there. So I just wanted to kind of share that story. I thought it was pretty cool. And Laura, she actually reached out to me to let me know that she had done that, and which I thought is cool because I'm not on her team at all. I'm just part of her syndication group, and I just thought it was cool that she reached out to me and shouted out to me on a product that's now in our back office. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and what's great too is, would you have known those things if you had not actually spent the money to invest in yourself? And would you have ever learned that on your own, do you think?
No, probably not. Yeah, you definitely need somebody like a Laura or somebody who's, and I'm sure she learned a lot of stuff trial and error, or she saw something, read something, heard something that over the years just perfected it, and to the point where now it's amazing. She can get her posts to rank almost immediately. As soon as she posts them, they're on the first page of Google.
Yeah, what I always thought was cool too was that you can actually compress time even if you're new. Just because you're new, it doesn't put you in any other category other than you saying that you're new. No one else, we don't know. I would have no idea. I would be clueless. But we could go to your website, go to your blog. You have a lot of content there. I have no clue that you haven't been blogging for 20 years. Or, I have no idea that you haven't been. But all I cared about was the information you provided, regardless of how new or not you are. If it's valuable, it's valuable. Mm-hmm. So that label is only a label that, is by choice. That's a label that we labeled ourselves by choice to say, I'm new. Mm-hmm. That's it. And it really is when you can just get around that. You got to walk in here and just be like, chest out, I'm doing this. This is it. Mm-hmm. I'm not no newbie. I paid for this information. I'm gonna get it, and I'm just gonna put it to use. And what's cool though is you can compress time. So like the Laura's out there, and like the Chris's and the Sheenas and the Stephanies, and everybody is now has all the experience combined put together, and you're getting all that experience from different places, and it's all coming together for you, so you can basically speed up the failure rate. To really be successful, you got to be able to fail and fail fast. It is. Like, I learned how to fail fast and fail graciously. That's it. Like, if you ever watch like the X Games, and you see a skateboarder, on the half pipe, they're falling 30 feet out of the air onto hard wood. You better be a pro at falling down and learn. That's it. They're pros at learning how to fall down and getting back up. And really, because if they were just to flail, dead sailor, just arms out and just punk, they're just gonna face plant right down the bottom. That's not gonna be cool. They're not gonna like that sport very much. But they learn how to fall, and that's what time did for everybody here. Is we didn't ever go out there and just make every post like. As you're writing it, you think it's going to be the best post ever, You're just like, this is going to be so great, I'm going to get 10,000 views and like 500 opt-ins. This is going to be great. And then you syndicate it out, and you're like, it's like, womp, womp, womp. But it's out there now. And it might not have done good then, but it's still information that's out there. It's going to gain traction later on. And that's what's cool.
Yeah,
but,
it's funny.
But it's the time rate, though, because when you first got started online...
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, if I look at my first blog post, my very first blog post, compared to now, like, I can't even describe the difference. Like, wow. Like, my first blog post, I barely knew anything. I was brand new to the industry. Didn't know too much. I started diving into all of our products, and I just got going. I just started implementing straight away, so I didn't know very much. And if I compare to now, like, 2 years down the track, and what I have learned during that time, it's just unbelievable, the difference. And
like second grade, like when you go to second grade, you get like the big paper, the green paper that's got like the line that's that big, and you learn how to write on. But then as you get older, you get the little paper. That's the college rule. That's real thin.
Yeah. And often you don't realize how far you've progressed until you make that comparison. You go, look at this, and now look at where I am right now. And I think during this entrepreneurial journey, we need to make sure that we do celebrate the small wins, our small successes. It's really important to do that, because we can get so caught up in what we're doing and not realize that we're actually succeeding while we're failing our way forward, and I really think that's a really good point to bring up as well. And
the cold cut guy.
Oh yeah, the cold cut guy. Yeah, gotta get excited like the cold cut guy.
Yep.
But
Woo! Gotta give me some cold cuts.
Yeah. So I love Chris's story that he shared that, because that's just a smidgen of what happens within our community, and when we get around like-minded people, and what we can learn, and what can become of it, which is really, really cool. So let's bring Stephanie out there.
Hey guys.
There she is.
She's not sneezing.
Oh, now she's muted.
You muted her, huh?
Oh.
I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, good. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm coming in and out. My computer's playing a little game with me today, but I'm just gonna let's go for this. And so I'll share my stories and my takes on about the things that we're sharing. I mean, so far you guys have shared golden nuggets, and I have been jotting down notes. Thank you so much. And more often than not, I think when we come out and share our ideas, number one, we validate ourselves and we validate each other. And I think that's the most important thing. And when we do by copying, there's no validation, because nobody has done anything differently, or nobody tried anything new, right? How can you validate something where everybody is just like a cookie cutter? Everything looks the same, right? That was the point first point I wanted to share. And I wanted to share this quote from Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso said, "Learn the rules like the pros, so you can break the rules like the artist." First, you learn the rules, the guidelines, the bylines, the boundaries, and things like that, like pros, because we have to be professionals. I mean, after all, this is our business, right? And when you learn them, you get to understand the nooks and crannies, the in-betweens that you can tweak and just go have a ball and have a party with it and just uniquely make it your own. Okay? Now the second thing, and then another thing I wanted to share is that everything is all a relative. Okay? What I mean by that is I'll share, when I first began, I did a free WordPress blog. And the first one, I'm sure you guys, a lot of you guys remember, it's Hello World. The first topic was Hello World, right? And I was like racking my brain. What am I going to say? I'm nobody here. I mean, I'm just starting all over and it's like, what's so important about Hello World? So, you know, I just talked about me being a housewife, me being a full-time, you know, mother. And then my second blog was about something that happened in my daughter's school. Okay? And it was something in terms of my my parent conference that I had at school, and I was kind of PO'd. So I did like a rant about bully be gone and how I made it my system at home and, you know, made my child overcome bullying. That thing went viral. And I couldn't even, I mean, there were people coming from like Spain, people coming from Portugal, people coming from, you know, somewhere in Europe, and they're commenting on my blog post, and I was like, wow, what did this happen? I mean, I attracted people just by being me and just by being authentic and showing what had happened to me and what happened to the family and where I stood, okay, on that topic. And the second topic that I thought I was just joking around, because this is something that I believe that it's something that every other household has. What happened was my kids outgrew the toys from toy stores. It's no more Roundup toys, no more push button things, and they kind of got bored. So one day while we were at Costco, I picked out this big cardboard box. You know those boxes that line the soup cans? It's pretty, you know, big in size, and it's got the little edges. I brought that home, and I took the Sharpie marker, and we made like racetracks. We drew the racetracks on it, and then I let the kids go at it with the Hot Wheels car. We had a great time. So after that, my light bulb went in my head and said, I could do something with this. So I went to Pinterest and looked up all the stuff what other mothers were doing. So there was a blog actually written by another parent on how to handle cardboard boxes, how to, you know, cut, how to store things, the thickness of things, you know, how you can design. And some parents use cardboard boxes to you know, make a car wash, motorized car box. Some people made like a ship, and some people made like a working garage, strictly out of a cardboard, right? And so I kind of collected the data together, and then I did the backlinks. I didn't copy the things. I just did the backlinks, and I just shared my little bit of smidgen of intake about it, right? My opinions about it. And then the people from Japan commented on it. And then one person from Russia came over and asked me if they could use my blog to present in some kind of thesis that they were doing. And I was like, okay. So that's how things get viral. And I'm not discrediting anybody. I'm not misusing their, you know, their thinking, their originality. But what I'm starting from is an idea, my background story, and I'm just linking it. And when we do that, we don't have to plagiarize, we don't have to copy. You can take something, learn the rules, and then just break them and be the artist. Be the artist in it and create your own boundaries, okay? And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the difference between fundamentals and the supplement. Fundamental meaning when you start, like in our industry, we meet each other and we build our business by blogging. They are rules and guidelines. Those are our fundamentals. We have to learn those. Just like we learn our ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. We learn the vowels and understand the vowels are the glues that's going to put the sounds together to make the words. We learn those rules first. And then we go out and have fun. We make silly words like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? So first, when we come in, we have to learn the fundamentals. We cannot discard the fundamentals. It's there for a reason. And then step back for a minute and realize, what am I good at? In the beginning, I thought I was the technical person because I always liked the gadget stuff. So I dabbled in Facebook PPC, pay-per-click, right? Soon realized everything was just over my head. Oh my goodness, I was just swimming in the deep water and I was getting sucked in really fast. So I decided, okay, this is not it. And then I stepped back, leave them for some more, and then I realized, am I going to make a product, like a digital product? Can I tutor somebody? And I soon realized I wasn't quite there yet. And then recently I realized I can tell stories, just like the ones that I'm telling right now. And when I tell stories, some people come to me and say, you made a good point on this part, and this part of the story, it connected with me. And that's how I was able to network and meet people. But in order for, if it weren't me spending time to learn the fundamentals first, I wouldn't be able to supplement. I wouldn't be able to show my own sparkle and glitter. Okay? So it's okay for us to take a few steps backwards, learn the fundamentals so we can spring forward with supplementing my own ideas. That's what I wanted to share for today.
Yeah, great. A lot of times, I'm in the hospital, I know comes through, and I never even thought about the boxes. And I'm like, oh, that's actually really good. And I took it back, I was like, man, I'm going to get it set up a couple of boxes and
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's actually cool.
Yeah, I used to do that. It reminded me. I used to make I used to get the cardboard boxes and cut them up, and I'd make my own camera, my own play cameras, and all these different little gadgets. I'd make for myself. I used to love it.
Yeah, but what was neat though was that all the creativeness that you have, and you talked about validation at the beginning earlier on too. And a lot of people, all they want in life is just validation. Whether it's money or anything else, a lot of people just want validation. They just want to feel like they're worth it. You just want to feel like you're worth something, and you belong somewhere. And that's human nature. It is what it is. That's why you'll go to certain groups of friends, and that's why you'll dress a certain way, because that's your sense of belonging and things like that. That validation, and whether it's personal validation or outward validation, there's different reasons for it. And that's the same way online as well too. Sometimes you just want to feel validated, like, you know what, my hard work was worth it. And for instance, Chris, having a leader actually call him out, and actually give him a shout out, that's validation, and you feel like $1 million. I mean, it's something where it's great. It really is. It brings you up. It keeps you boosted up, and you're like, you know what, this is actually worth it. I'm feeling that I'm making progress with everything. And that same validation is the same validation that we actually all give, anybody that's on our team as well, So when you join by clicking the button below down here, and you get back to the person that actually refers you to this hangout as well, that validation and that sense of, family and belonging, it's here. You're more than welcome here. It's not like, hey, get in, spend some money, hit the button below, and then bye-bye, we're gone, see you, we'll never see you. No, it's not like that at all. It's actually where we uplift everybody. A rising tide raises all ships, and that's what you get. That's what you get not only from us, that's what you get within our whole community. You might be wondering, how, Stephanie, you said that you had created, the first Hello World blog. How long did it take you to set all that stuff up? I'm just curious. When you first got there, how long did it take you to set up all your stuff? Oh, you.
The hard. Oh,
You're
can you
good.
guys hear? Okay. The hardest thing for me was to actually deciding to blog. And then I looked at the blank screen and the hello world. And once I got comfortable with realizing, okay, there's somebody out there who wants to meet me. I think that was like the biggest setback or like a dead weight on me.
Yeah. Well, was it hard for you to technically set all your stuff up at the beginning to even get to that point for your hosting and, you know, to actually FTP your stuff over and set up the site and install it? You know, was it?
Okay, that's the.
You got to the point of actually fingers the keyboard to create the post. How long did it take you to set
The finger to keyboard. It was like less than a minute to get it done because once I got hang of it, I did it. But here's the thing: there's a difference between free WordPress site and the site where you can run your business and run your ads. I didn't know that back then. So when I got certain traffic, Google kind of sent me a friendly reminder that I'm producing too much traffic. So in order for me to have certain hosting service done, I had to pay them. I didn't know that in the beginning. So it was where I had to decide between can I take this all with me, or am I allowed to take this all with me, or does this belong to WordPress? And because I was generating a lot of traffic, I had to pay in order to own my own work. I didn't know that at first. That was like the hardest lesson for me. Yeah. It was my baby, but I had to let it go. Why? Because I wasn't ready to spend like several $100s just to keep. And then I went to the blog site that we're using, the platform that we're using, which is only $25 a month, and it comes with free hosting, free tech support, all the widgets are there, all the tools are there. And because I had that previous experience, when I heard that it was $25, I was like, shut up.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it was a bargain. It really was, you know. And it was something where that's your intellectual property, and no one can take that away from you now, which is great. Mm-hmm. And you know, having just the ease and simplification of basically, I'm not going to say it's as easy as drag and drop. Not everything's just as easy as drag something over here and drop it in, and then poof, there's your blog. Mm-hmm. It's similar. It is similar, but you have to put some thought into some things as well too. But like you said, matter of minutes, but everything pretty much is walked through. You can actually be up and running, getting your message out to the world, and actually start building a following. You can start building a list. You can start communicating to a list. You can start marketing to a list. And you can market whatever the hell you want. If you want to market invisible dog fences, you can market those. We all know a guy who's made millions of dollars doing that at the beginning. There's whatever you want. There's an underwear company that's out right now, and I saw it down in San Francisco the other day. They had a huge billboard. I can't even remember the name of the underwear place, but great marketing, right? I couldn't remember. Either way, I think it's just because I didn't need underwear, but it's just, if I needed some new drawers, that would have been great. But either way, they're marketing underwear, just basic underwear, and it's something that everybody needs. And there's billboards about this, so whatever it is that you want to market, don't think that there's not people out there that want to hear about your stuff or hear about what interests you, because it's the same things that attracted you to a certain topic are the same things that are going to attract hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people around the world to come see what your message is and potentially buy stuff from you as well. So click the button below and actually get in to actually start something today, because the hardest part is actually just starting. 90% of it, even going to your job. If you're going through every day, you have to put on laces every day. You got to look yourself in the mirror and lie to yourself about something that you're about to go do, and you got to psych yourself up. Well, you don't have to do that here, which is great. And like I said, no one can take the stuff away from you, but you have a home here. You can learn how to do this stuff here. You know, all it takes is just starting. 90% of it's just showing up, just like you have to show up to the job. 90% of it's just showing up here. Just click the button below. Just show up in your own life. That's what you got to do. It's all on you. Just show up and be a part of it. Be present. It's pretty much all I have left, guys. Is just, you know, just be present in your life. You know, start designing what you want to design. Click the button below. Get back to whoever, you know, brought you to this hangout, and we will see you guys next week.